Unit 4, Lesson 16. Vocabulary in context. Read each context card. Use a vocabulary word to tell about something you did. Received. The boys received some money for raking leaves in the yard. Account. The girl opened a bank account with the money from her allowance. Budget. A budget is a plan for how you should spend your money. Disappointed. He was disappointed or sad that he would not be able to buy the book. Chuckled. Her dad chuckled when he saw her tiny piggy bank. Staring. The girl was staring at the money. Should she save it or spend it? Repeated. The car wash was such a big success that the class repeated in May. Fund. The players got new shirts by raising money for the team fund. Read and comprehend. Story structure. The characters, setting, and plot of a story make up the story structure. The setting is where and when the story takes place. The characters are the people in the story. The plot is what happens in the story. As you read Mr. Tennant's Tie Trouble, think about what important events are. You can use a story map like the one below to show the main parts of the story. Characters, setting, plot. Infer, predict. Use clues or text evidence to figure out more about story parts. Preview the topic. Helping others. There are many ways to help other people. Holding the door for someone is one small way to help a person. Visiting someone who is sick can help make him or her feel better. Taking care of family pets or doing chores can help out at home. Helping others makes them feel good, and it can make you feel good too. You will read about a principal who helps his school and Mr. Tannen's tie trouble. Story structure. Tell the setting, character, and plot in a story. Genre. Realistic fiction is a story that could happen in real life. As you read, look for characters who act like real people, a setting that could be a real place. Meet the author and illustrator, Marianne Koch-Leffler. Many of Marianne Koch-Leffler's books are based on her own life. Clams All Year is about the time she went clam digging with her grandpa following a big storm. She wrote Jack's talent after a boy said during a school visit that he had no talent for anything. The tie-loving Mr. Tennant was the principal at an elementary school that the author's two daughters attended. Mr. Tennant's Tie Trouble by Marianne Koch-Leffler. Essential question. How can help other make you feel good? Mr. Tennant loves being the principal of the Lyndhurst School. He also loves ties. In fact, he has almost 1,000 crazy ties. When Mr. Tennant returned from winter vacation, he received a call from Mr. Apple at the school department. Mr. Apple told him that because many things at the school had to be fixed, there wasn't enough money left for a new playground. Mr. Tennant sadly hung up the phone and gazed out of the broken-down playground. He heard a Clink clank. He looked up to see Kaylee and Alex lugging in a big jar filled with money. Here it is, $148.29 for the playground fund, said Kaylee proudly. New playground, here we come, cheered Alex. Mr. Tennant didn't know what to say. After school, Mr. Tennant sat in his office, staring at the jar. He sighed. Now I am in real pickle. This is not enough money for a playground. The kids will be so disappointed. Mr. Apple's words floated around in his head. The playground will have to wait. You will think of something. I wish our account was as full as your tie closet. As full as my tie closet? Repeated Mr. Tennant. He jumped, opened his closet, and shouted, That's it! My ties! Lyndhurst School will have a new playground. The next day, the entire town was plastered with signs. Mr. Tennant's tie auction, Saturday at 7 p.m. at the Lyndhurst School. A tie for any occasion. All ties must go. Analyze the text. Understanding characters. What does Mr. Tennant do to help raise money for the playground? What do his actions tell you about him? Mrs. Sweet Apple noticed the sign on the grocery store window. She called her husband, Mr. Apple. Why is Mr. Tennant selling all his ties? Has he gone crazy? Mr. Apple told her about the school budget and the playground money. The town was buzzing all day. Mrs. Sweet Apple called Monsieur Bijou at the bakery, who called Cleo at the cleaners, who called Dr. Demi, the dentist. It went on and on until even Zack, the night watchman at the zoo, got the words. Mr. Tennant is selling his ties. On Saturday, the whole town showed up for the auction. Monsieur Bijou started the bidding. I will give you $50 for the donut and Danish tie. Lolly, the librarian, bought the book tie. Dr. Demi was the proud owner of the toothbrush tie. Kaylee handed over her entire piggy bank for the hot dog tie. Mrs. Sweet Apple just had to have the wedding bells tie. And of course, Mr. Apple chuckled as he paid quite a bit of cash for the crab apple tie. The auction was a huge success. Every tie was sold except one. Mr. Tennant couldn't part with his beloved blue ribbon tie. It was a present from Mr. Apple for being a great principal. He looked out at the sea of townspeople, all wearing his ties. Thank you all. I have always taught my students, the more you give, the more you get. With this money, the Lyndhurst School will have a new playground. Mr. Tennant swallowed hard. My ties now belong to the town. Wear them proudly. And throughout the spring, that is just what everyone did. But sometimes Mr. Tennant would forget his closet was empty. He would open it to get a tie. And with a tinge of sadness, he would remember he only had one tie, and he was wearing it. Then he would look outside at the playground being built. You have to give to get, he thought. Soon it was opening day at the new playground. Mr. Tennant had invited the whole town to the ribbon-cutting ceremony. He tucked his speech in his pocket, grabbed his special scissors, and adjusted his tie. He wished he had on his official ribbon-cutting tie. The schoolyard was overflowing with people. Mr. Tennant made his way through the crowd. Then he saw it. The playground was tied in a giant ribbon made from Mr. Tennant's ties. Mrs. Sweet Apple and Mr. Apple were at the microphone. Mr. Tennant, you have taught us all. The more you give, the more you get, said Mrs. Sweet Apple. You have given us a playground. We are giving you back your ties. With that, Mr. Apple untied the tie ribbon and announced, Mr. Tennant's playground is now open. Mr. Tennant and his ties were together again. He slipped on his swing and slide tie and smiled. Analyze the text. Story structure. What problem does Mr. Tennant have after he sells his ties? How does the ending solve Mr. Tennant's problem? Comprehension. How to analyze the text. Use these pages to learn about story structure and understand characters. Then read Mr. Tennant's ties trouble again. Use what you learned to understand it better. Story structure. And Mr. Tennant's tie trouble, you read a story about a principal who has to solve a problem. Who are the characters? Where does the story take place? Think about how the beginning of the story tells the problem that the characters have. How is the problem solved at the end? Use a story map to help you describe the characters, setting, and plot of Mr. Tennant's tie trouble. Characters, setting, plot. Understand characters. The way that characters act when they have a problem tells you more about them. Think about how the people in the town try to help Mr. Tennant and the school. Many people come to the auction and buy Mr. Tennant's ties. The next evidence shows that they want to help raise money for the playground. Understanding how characters think, act, and feel helps you to better understand why things happen in the story. Your turn. Return to the essential question. Turn and talk. How can helping others make you feel good? Talk with a partner. Use text evidence from Mr. Tennant's tie trouble to tell your ideas. Also, talk about times that you have helped others. Take turns listening and speaking. Use respectful ways to take your turn speaking. Classroom conversation. Now, talk about these questions with the class. 1. What decision do the characters make that helps Mr. Tennant solve his problem? 2. Why do the people in the town give Mr. Tennant his ties back? 3. How does Mr. Tennant feel when the people in the town give him back his ties? How do you know? Write about reading. Response. How do you think the people in the town feel about Mr. Tennant? Write a few sentences to explain your ideas. Use the words and pictures in the story as text evidence to support your opinion. Writing tip. Remember to start each proper noun with a capital letter. Lesson 16. Informational text. Genre. Informational texts give facts about a topic. Text focus. A caption tells more about a photo. The Jefferson Daily News, November 5th. Club Helps in Many Ways by Ben Watts. The Helping Hands Club is one of the best clubs at Jefferson Elementary School. The children in this club volunteer their time to help other people in the community. Last month, they gathered items to recycle from home and school. Many items, such as water bottles and juice containers, were placed in recycle bins. Some other items were used in the art classroom. The club's sponsor, Mrs. Waters, was proud of who helped. Students created beautiful artwork from cloth and paper scraps. The club's hard work gave these items a new purpose, she said. Art made from scraps. The Helping Hands Club has done many more things to help the community. They cleaned up the park and playground and collected food for the food bank. They had a bank sale to raise money for the animal shelter. Club members even decorated posters for Bike Safety Week. Malik is one of the members of the club. He told how the club helped someone he knew. The Helping Hands Club helped my neighbor, Mrs. Dodge, he said. She is 80 years old and lives alone. Our parents brought her hot food and we pulled weeds in her yard. She was so happy and thankful, and she gave us all lemonade. Helping her made me feel happy too. The club helps to clean up the park. The club holds a bake sale to help animals. The Helping Hands Club would like to invite you to a meeting. You can find out what the club is all about and how you can participate. You can even share your own ideas. This club helps in many ways, said Principal Ramirez. It is a great club to join. Principal Ramirez tells about the club. What? Helping Hands Club meeting. When? December 1. Time 3:30 p.m. Where? Mrs. Waters' classroom, room 107. Compare texts. Text to text. Compare and contrast. Imagine that Mr. Tennant is the principal at Jefferson Elementary School. Would he think that the Helping Hands Club is a good club to join? Explain your thoughts to a partner. Use text evidence from both selections to help your answer. Text to self. Write a description. Which of Mr. Tennant's ties do you like the best? Write a few sentences describing the tie you like. Then tell when a person might wear the tie. Text to world. Connect to science. Think about what you might see, hear, or feel at Mr. Tennant's playground. Write a poem about it. Use describing words. Mr. Tennant's playground. Grammar. Pronouns. A pronoun can take the place of a noun. To replace a noun that is the subject of a sentence, Use the pronoun I, he, she, it, we, or they. To replace a noun that comes after a verb, use the pronoun me, him, her, it, us, or them. Reflexive pronouns such as myself, himself, herself, themselves, and ourselves are also used after verbs. Nouns. The children want a new playground. Pronouns. They want a new playground. Mr. Tennant likes ties. He likes ties. My mother helped the principal. My mother helped him. Our family bought ties for our family. Our family bought ties for ourselves. Try this. Name the pronouns that can replace the underlined words. Then rewrite the sentences using the pronouns. 1. Lou and Kim sat on the swings. 2. I like the slide. 3. My brother plays by my brother in the sand. When you write, try to not use the same nouns over and over again. Use pronouns or reflexive pronouns to take the place of repeated nouns. This will make your writing better. Sentence with repeated subjects. The two girls counted the money. The two girls hoped they had raised enough. Better sentences. The two girls counted the money. They hoped they had raised enough. Connect grammar to writing. When you revise your story paragraph, look for repeated nouns. Use pronouns to take their place. Narrative writing. Use details when you write a story. Details will help your reader picture what the story is about. Ahmed's draft a story paragraph about a little boy who helped his mother. Later he added some details to make his story more interesting. Revised draft. Omar wanted to help his mother. She had been sick for a week. He came home early one day from playing with his friend in the park. His mother was sitting at the kitchen table. He wanted to do something to help. First, he began to rinse the dishes. Writing traits checklist ideas. Did I add details to tell the reader more? Organization. Did I include a beginning, a middle, and an end? Word choice. Do my words tell what the characters are feeling? Conventions. Did I think about spelling patterns to help spell words? Final copy. Omar's Gift by Ahmed Hawking. Omar wanted to help his mother. She had been sick for a week. He came home early one day from playing with his friends in the park. His mother was sitting at the kitchen table. He wanted to do something to help. First, he began to rinse the dishes. After that, he put them in the dishwasher. His mother looked at him and said, "You were a good son, Omar." She smiled at him. Omar knew that he had just given his mother a gift. It was a gift that made them both happy. Reading as a writer. How do the details that Ahmed added tell his readers more? Where can you add details to your story? I added details to my final paper to make it more interesting.